Hello my fellow working class heroes, good day. I am Carlo and welcome to Carlo Excels. These are the objectives of this episode. Today we're gonna look at the VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP functions. So we're gonna start with the function definitions and then we're gonna go to the basic applications of the VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP functions. As usual, let's start with the function definitions. Now this is from Microsoft Excel's own help document. VLOOKUP function. You can use the VLOOKUP function to search the first column of a range of cells and then return a value from any cell on the same row of the range. For the VLOOKUP function, the function name is VLOOKUP, and for the function arguments, we have the lookup value, the table array, the column index number, and the range lookup. Now let me first try to explain how the VLOOKUP function works, and then later on we can proceed to the various very great applications of the VLOOKUP function. Say for example, you're looking for a particular color. And based on a particular color, you want to know the color number, and then you automatically want to know what the meaning of the color is, whether the color is very bad or whether the color is good. So of course, as always, the best way to teach the VLOOKUP function is to show you how it works. So let's try doing the VLOOKUP function. So let's call out the function name. So VLOOKUP, like so. And then, let's open the parentheses, and now we can see that Microsoft Excel is looking for the first argument. So in this example, let's try this. We want to give Microsoft Excel the color. And given a particular color, we want Microsoft Excel to give us back the meaning of that color. So say for example, we want Microsoft Excel to give Microsoft Excel the data of the color yellow, and then based on the color yellow, we want Microsoft Excel to give back the meaning of the color yellow. So in this case, just like what you can see on the screen, the meaning of the color yellow is supposed to be bad. So we input the data of the color, in other words, yellow, and then we want Microsoft Excel to give us the result, which is bad. So after entering the open parenthesis, you will now notice that Microsoft Excel is looking for its first argument for the VLOOKUP function. So you're looking for the lookup value. Now the lookup value is the value that you're going to use for the search. This is the input that you're going to give Microsoft Excel, and this input is what Microsoft Excel is going to use to look for the output. So in this case, we are looking for the input that we are going to give Microsoft Excel is the color yellow. So I'm going to type it like so. Now, please take note that the lookup value, any input can be any data. So the data can be numbers, the data can be text value, the text data rather. The data can also be a cell reference. So now let's press the comma to proceed to our next argument, which is the table array. Now the table array is the array of cells that you're going to use to ask Microsoft Excel to look for whatever data it is you need to look for. So the array, in terms of the table array, please take note that the lookup value should be on the leftmost part of the array as far as the VLOOKUP function is concerned. So this is what you do. In the table array, all you have to do will be to state the table in which you're looking for the color yellow and then the meaning of the color yellow. So in this case, let us highlight this array over here, which is A1 to C6. And then we press comma to proceed to our next argument. The next argument that Microsoft Excel is going to look for is the column index number. Now, the column index number, please take note, this is going to be a number or a cell reference that contains a number. The column reference number is the number of columns in which you want Microsoft Excel to look to the right after finding the lookup value. Now, all you have to do is to imagine the columns that you have given Microsoft Excel as far as the table array is concerned. So please remember that this is the table array that we gave Microsoft Excel in the table array arguments. Try to label it in your mind. This is the first column of the array. This is the second column of the array. And this is the third column of the array. Now, the color that we are looking for, which is yellow in this case, you will notice, of course, that as per correct procedure, the colors are on the first column. So this is column number 1 here. Now, what we want to do is, we want Microsoft Excel to look for yellow, and then after finding yellow, we want Microsoft Excel to give back what is to the right of yellow in the third column. So in other words, we want Microsoft Excel to give us back whatever is in here, the third column. So in other words, we have to indicate 3 as the column index number like so. That is telling Microsoft Excel once again, find yellow in the first column, all right? Find the first find yellow in the first column, this is the array that you're going to use as you've stated in the table array argument, and then give us back whatever is on the third column, which is stated on the number 3 that you gave on the column index number argument. And then we press comma, of course, to proceed to the next argument. So the next argument is the range lookup. So in the range lookup, all you have to do is to enter either the word true or false. So when you enter the word true, just like what's written there on the screen, if you enter the word true, you're going to ask VLOOKUP to look for an approximate match. And then if you enter false, you're going to ask Microsoft Excel to find only the exact match. Now, for basics, let's use the false range lookup argument. False, like so. Now, when you use false, you are telling Microsoft Excel to find exactly the word yellow. If there is a misspelled yellow over here, Microsoft Excel is not going to return that. It is going to find exactly what you have written here on the lookup value argument. So now that the VLOOKUP function is finished, like so, press enter, and now we have our result. So once again, what did we ask Microsoft Excel to do? Looking at once again the way that the formula works. So we ask Microsoft Excel to look for the color yellow or the word yellow. Of course, it is enclosed in quotation marks, so that is why it is a text data. So we want Microsoft Excel to look for the text data yellow on the first column of this table array, which we stated on the table array argument, like so. Find the color yellow or the word yellow on the first column, and then afterwards, give back whatever is on the same row of the color yellow, the same row of the color yellow, but on the third column, which is what you stated here on the number 3. And then give us back an exact match, only an exact match, which is what you stated here when you enter the false argument. So that is how the VLOOKUP function works. Now, if you don't understand yet how the VLOOKUP function works, that's okay. It takes a few examples for most people to understand how the VLOOKUP function works, so we're gonna have more examples. So let's have another example here. Let's ask Microsoft Excel, what is the assigned color number of the color blue? So in other words, you will see here, blue, and what is the assigned color number? So we want Microsoft Excel to give back 1 here. So the assigned color number of the color blue. So let's use the VLOOKUP function for that. So entering the function name VLOOKUP, like so. So we're looking for the lookup value of blue. So we have here the text data blue, of course enclosed in quotation marks because it's text data. Table array. Once again, this is the table array. Again, making sure that the lookup value that we're looking for is on the first column of this particular table. That is the table array. Column index number. So please take note that the data that we're looking for, which is the color number, is on the second column this time, right? It's on the second column. So we put in here, column index number is 2. And then the range lookup, once again, for the basics, we're looking for an exact match. So we put in here false, and then press enter. Now we see this data, which is 1, which is what we're looking for. Because we asked Microsoft Excel to find the color blue, alright? Find the color blue on the first column of this table array and give us back whatever is on the second column but on the same row as the data of the color blue. And that is why when we press enter, we get number 1, which is the color number of color blue. Now please note, of course, what we've done so far. Now so far, in our previous 2 examples, we've used constants when it comes to the lookup value. So we stated the color yellow in the VLOOKUP's lookup value argument, and in this case, we use the color blue in the VLOOKUP's lookup value argument. We can use constants for that, but it becomes more practical and it becomes more useful if we use cell references or variables or cell references for the lookup value instead of constants. Now, what do I mean by this? So let's delete these, what we did a while ago. Now let's do this. We want to enter a color, alright? We want to enter a color on cell E2. So I highlighted cell E2 over here. we want to write a color there. Now, whatever the color is, on cell E3, we want to get the meaning of that color. So for example, if I write blue, if I type blue on cell E2, on cell E3, it should say here very good. If I write green here, it should say here good. If I write yellow here, it should say here bad. And if we write red here, it should say here very bad. So how do we achieve that? Well, we simply use the VLOOKUP function, and this time instead of using a constant for the VLOOKUP, for the lookup value, we use a cell reference. So this is how we do it. So let's write here equal sign VLOOKUP and then open parenthesis. Now instead of using any particular color and putting it in quotation marks, the lookup value is going to be a cell reference. So once again, we click on cell E2 and that is going to be our reference. Table array, just like what we did a while ago, highlight cell A1 to cell C6 like so. Column index number, once again, we want to get back whatever is on the third column here. So column index number is going to be 3, and once again we're looking for an exact match, so that is why we write there comma and then false like so, and then enter. So of course you notice, oh, the formula we entered is an error. Why is it an error? Well, it is an error because cell E2 is still blank. You are asking Microsoft Excel to look for a blank on the first column, which of course there are no blanks here, so there's nothing for Microsoft Excel to search. However, if we write here yellow like so and we press enter, you will notice that cell E3 has now changed to bad. Once again, because we ask Microsoft Excel to look for the color yellow and then give us back whatever is on the same row but on the third column of the table. So because you commanded Microsoft Excel to look for yellow, Microsoft Excel is going to scan this column, will find yellow here, and then count 3 columns to the right, so 1, 2, 3, and then it's going to give back bad. Now, if we write here blue like so, it's going to give us very good, just like what we need. Or if we write here color red, Microsoft Excel is going to give us very bad, just like what we need. So please note that because we are using exact match, Microsoft Excel cannot find data that does not exist on this column. For example, if we have here the color orange, but we don't have orange here in the original data, but we're asking Microsoft Excel to look for the color orange, Microsoft Excel gives us back an NA error. And just like what we learned in the previous lesson, when it came to the kinds of errors in Microsoft Excel, you get an NA error when you ask Microsoft Excel to look for data that isn't there. So that is why we're getting an NA error, because you're asking Microsoft Excel to look for orange, but in fact, orange is not within the data that you're asking Microsoft Excel to look for in. Next, we have the HLOOKUP function. You can use the HLOOKUP function to search the first row of a range of cells and then return a value from any cell on the same column of the range. For the HLOOKUP function, we have the function name HLOOKUP, and for the function arguments, we have lookup value, table array, row index number, and the range lookup. Now, of course, if you've been paying attention to the VLOOKUP function a while ago, you will notice that the VLOOKUP function, I'm gonna put that on the screen, the VLOOKUP function and the HLOOKUP function that you see on the screen now, they look almost exactly the same. The only difference is the VLOOKUP function has the function argument column index number, and the HLOOKUP function has the function argument row index number. Actually, the reason why they're almost the same is because they're almost exactly the same. The only difference is the direction in which Microsoft Excel searches the lookup value and the direction in which it gives back values. So based on this, I'm sure some of you can already guess that the VLOOKUP function means, the V in the VLOOKUP function means vertical lookup, and the H in the HLOOKUP function means horizontal lookup. So what we have here on the screen right now is actually the same data that we had a while ago when we were talking about VLOOKUP. So we have colors over here on this row, and then their corresponding numbers on this row, and then their corresponding meaning on this row over here. The only difference is that the data a while ago was arranged vertically, and the data here is arranged horizontally. So once again, just like what we did a while ago, say for example, we want to look for a particular color, and based on the color, we want to find out what the color number is and what the meaning of the color is. So let's do that using the HLOOKUP function in this particular example. So let's call out the function name. We have here HLOOKUP, like so, and then we open our parenthesis for our first argument. So lookup value. Let's say, for example, that our lookup value is going to be whatever we type on cell B5. So let's call upon the cell reference here, cell B5 right here. And then press the comma for our next argument, so the table array. So just like what we did a while ago, we highlight all of these cells over here as our table array. For our row index number, once again, we're looking for, in this case, we're looking for the data that is on the second row here. We want to look for the corresponding color number of whatever color we type here on cell B5. So row index number, we're looking for, again, the color number. So we type here the number 2. And once again, we're looking for, in this case, an exact match. False, in this case. So we press enter. And once again, we're getting a we're getting a not available value, not available error here because we haven't typed anything yet into cell B5. All right, let's put borders here so we see it clearly, and then let's highlight this cell here. Now on cell B5, what we're gonna do is, if this was the color number, how about the meaning of the color? So let's do what we did a while ago. So let's call upon the HLOOKUP function like so. Lookup value is still going to be whatever color we type here on cell B5. So color here. And then the table array is still this. Now we want to look for, in this case, if we were looking for the color number a while ago and then we typed row index number 2. In this case, we're looking for the meaning of the color and we're going to use index number 3 here. So row index number. So we're going to put in here 3, like so. And then once again, we're looking for an exact match, like so. Oops, comma, exact match false. So we type here the word false, and then close parenthesis, and then press enter. So let's see if these formulas work. So let's type here the color yellow, like so. And now we see here, once we've typed the color yellow, you will now see here the number, the color number, which is number 3, and then the meaning of the color, which is bad. So if we type here the color red, you will see here Microsoft Excel automatically gives us back the color number red, and then of course the meaning of the color red, which is very bad. Let's try here blue, and then of course we get color number 1, and then the meaning of the color, which is very good. Just like what you can see here, the VLOOKUP function and the HLOOKUP function, they actually work almost exactly the same way. The only difference is this: the VLOOKUP function, or the vertical lookup function, looks for values vertically, and once it finds the value that you're looking for, it will then search horizontally. The HLOOKUP function, or the horizontal lookup function, will first look for values horizontally, and then once it finds the value or the data that you're looking for, it will then start searching vertically. So on the screen right now, we have here a basic student register. So we have here, once again, our fictional students. There are 200 students here, and then you have here their grade 7 grade. So you have their grade 7 Filipino grade, English, Math, Science, Social Studies, TLE, MAPE, and Values. So say for example, this is what we want to do. We want to enter a student here in this particular space here. So we find here the word student, right? So we want to enter a particular student name on this space here. And once we enter a particular name on this space here, we want all of the grades of that particular student to appear on these spaces here without us having to look for that particular student. With the VLOOKUP function, we can very easily do that. So as we already learned in a previous lesson about data validation, we can simply, instead of having to type the names of the students here, we can simply use a drop-down box for this. So let's put a drop-down box here from our data validation lesson. So data validation, allow a list, and then let's use this list of students here as the source of our drop-down list. So once again, please look at the please check the links below. In this video, please check the links below for our lesson on data validation to find out how to do this drop-down list. So now that we have our drop-down list, let's pick the very first student here. So let's have here Abby, Mackenzie, Colin, T. So what we want to do is, based on the student that we place here, Abby, we want to appear here on this part of the screen, we want to appear here all of the students' grades. So let's do that using the VLOOKUP function. Let's first start with the Filipino grade. So invoking the VLOOKUP function, like so, VLOOKUP, like this. Lookup value, we want the lookup value to be the name of the student because that is what we want Microsoft Excel to search for, the student. So VLOOKUP value, whatever is in cell L2, that's the name of the student, cell L2. And then table array is going to be this table right here, over here. And because I intend to copy paste this range later, this table later, I'm going to use absolute references for that. Next, column index number. So if this was the table here, you will notice that the name of the student is in the first column, Filipino grade is second column, English grade is third column, math grade is fourth, science is fifth, social studies is sixth, TLE is seventh, MAPE is eighth, and then values is ninth. So from the first column, which is the student, all the way to the ninth column. Filipino grade is on the second column, so column index number is 2. And once again, we're looking for a false here because we're looking for an exact match. Press enter and you will see that the Filipino grade is 78, just like what Abby's Filipino grade really is supposed to be. Now, for the interest of speeding things up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this exact formula over here. I'm going to copy it over here from the formula bar. And then what I'm going to do is I am just going to keep on copy pasting it downwards. Now, when I copy paste it downwards, just like what I'm gonna do here, like this, when I copy paste it downward, the only thing that I'm going to change here is the index number. Because of course, in this case, we're already trying to input the English grade. But if you notice, the English grade is not on the second column, it's on the third column. So that is why we changed the column index number to 3 in this case. So 3, that is the English grade. For the math space here, again, we paste the same formula and then change column index number to 4. For the science grade, we have the same formula, change the column index number to 5. Social studies, same formula, change the column index number to 6. For TLE, same formula, column index number to 7. For MAPE, same formula, change the column index number to 8. And for values, once again, formula, same formula, change the column index number to 9. And now we have what we are looking for. Now that we have this, you will now notice that if I now change the name of the student here on the drop-down list, for example, let's have another student, Rio. Now, these are the grades of Rio for these particular subjects because once again, Microsoft Excel searched for the name Rio. In this case, where is Rio? Where's Rio? Looked for the name of Rio here and then gave us back these grades right here, as you can see here on top. Or you can have another student here, Rome. These are the grades of Rome. Or let's have another sample. Let's have the very last student, right. And these are the grades of the student, right. So that is how VLOOKUP function is used to easily find the grades of a particular student based on the input data of just the student, the name of the student. Now, those are the basics of the VLOOKUP function. But there are many things to learn about the VLOOKUP function. For our next episode, what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to use, because of course in this lesson, what we've been doing is we've been using the exact match as far as the range lookup is concerned. During the next episode, we're going to learn how to use approximate match when it comes to the range lookup. In other words, when the value here is true. At the same time, we're going to try to use the wildcard. We're going to try to use wildcards when it comes to lookup values. In other words, is it possible for you to find a student with just the last name? Instead of having to put in the full name, can you find a student with just the last name and then do VLOOKUP with that? Yes, you can, using wildcards. That is the topic of our next lesson, which is VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP intermediate level. So that's it for our lesson on the basics of the VLOOKUP and the HLOOKUP function. I hope I earned your subscription today. Once again, I am Carlo and this is Carlo Excels. Thank you very much for watching.